就被下了药，头脑很压抑，头脑情绪都很压抑，上脸看没有？被肚子饿又饿的难受到处都不是。好在这个 YouTube 开始录了，怎么两边有黑色的东西？本来屏幕就不够宽，它还那个黑色的，然后呢进一步缩短，整个都没对。6月1号0:03。Go alive. Go alive here. 开始录啊。Do not cancel. Continue recording. Continue streaming. Whatever you call it. As long as it's turning on, I'm quite happy. Oh. Some people put a nation. Good-looking young lady there on TV. Not my type. Compared with some Western good-looking beauty, far out. I mean, European descent. 看不清楚是黑人还是白人开小黑车过去，是黑色的车还是什么车？是深颜色的车，是黑色的，黑色车开过去，从底下开过去，可能都录下了一部分。Monitor downstairs also. The wide range of monitoring. 这比那电视上打广告那个还不好看。Like what happened? What happened? Yeah. 采访一下我小孩啊，看他愿不愿意接受采访，愿不愿意出名。希望出名以后直接来钱来得快一点。不要让那个亚洲女人偷看我。No 吧。Give her something.
Unable to pass through the canal. All feel the consequences of this ballooning maritime disaster. The ever-given accident made headlines around the world.
Oh.
But there are many more that don't. Each year, there are over 2,500 crashes and shipping incidents. They damage infrastructure and cause delays, destroying ships and putting lives at risk. The way world shipping works today is through a system known as just-in-time logistics. What happens is most warehouses don't have enough supplies to last more than a few days. It requires the daily infusion of new cargo and new supplies coming in.
Most of the time, the public are blissfully unaware of how their goods get to their shops or how components get to factories.
Today, the transportation of almost all physical goods, durable items like furniture, clothes, and computer chips, to perishable goods like vegetables, meat, and medicines, revolves entirely around a single extraordinary piece of technology. The shipping container.
通过红海、亚丁湾，然后印度洋，进入印度洋，经过印度斯里兰卡的南边，它直接到马六甲海峡，那个印度尼下面，新加坡。那属于是亚洲东部、东亚，包括日本、欧洲的那个商业运输。当然也包括中亚大陆，大陆和欧洲的商业运输，好实际上。
American truck hauler Malcolm McLean unveiled a time-saving solution. What is now called the intermodal shipping container, a strong, lockable steel box, specially toughened to withstand the rigors of life at sea. It evolved through the 60s, and now containers all across the world come in standard sizes, with standardized attachment points. This makes it much faster and cheaper to shuttle goods from truck and train to ship and back again. Today, container ships transport around 2 billion tons of goods a year. Their success changed the way we ship
里面热，外面冷，那个气体买的时候也是这样。说明放到冰箱里一段时间，没有太长时间。 这个 Seven Up 现在的这个红带个大红点，很怪的，原来没有这个大红点。
They're pushing it boundaries of what's possible in terms of where these ships can go and how safe is it to transport things around the world on these mega ships. As ships get bigger, the margin for error gets smaller.
The Ever Given is one of the biggest container ships in the world. Its fate now hangs in the balance.
那前面的戳船也不是很大。
At the Canal Control Center, Captain Rita makes sure the other ships stuck in the convoy are safely anchored and then head straight to the crash site. This was the first time in my life that I saw a ship of this size stranded. He and his colleagues at the canal thought there are dozens of ships stacking up behind with vital supplies on board. The pressures to free the Ever Given and unblock the canal are immense. But the front of the ship is buried nearly 40 feet in the eastern bank, and the stern is stuck fast too. The team dispatches many tugboats, dredgers, and excavators as they can lay their hands on it. Several tugs, some pushing, others pulling, trying to free the ship. But it's simply hard. No one had had a vessel the size of Ever Given, or apparently the way Ever Given did. The ship's bow has plowed into the bank of the canal with such force that it is completely embedded. The excavators look like toys alongside the vast hull. 36 hours after the crash, excavators and dredging ships are still racing to scoop and suck sand away from the bow. The operation is extremely risky. If the Ever Given moves something, its vast bulk could crush anyone working nearby. After 3 days of non-stop digging and dredging, the Ever Given remains stuck. World shipping faces an escalating crisis.
Now you have this backup of 20, 40, 60, 80, and we're sitting there waiting.
Every day the canal is blocked, nearly $10 billion worth of vital medical supplies, food, and other goods. Even a short delay creates a huge global problem. When you create a disruption such as the shutdown of the Suez Canal, that creates a backlog. All of a sudden, that smooth supplies of Big King right in the middle of it. The problem is, the king resonates down the entire supply chain.
这太冷了，这冰。
Today, the container revolution means that ships carry up to 90% of all global trade goods. Every day, nearly 1,000 vessels must pass through a handful of crucial shipping arteries, including Panama Canal in Central America, the Strait of Malacca in Asia, the Straits of Gibraltar, the English Channel, and the Suez Canal. Here, closure can mean delay or a major diversion, adding at least 10 days and thousands of miles to a ship's route.
都演一下呀，那
A lot of ships had decided to go down around the Horn of Africa
咽喉要照
just
都演
because
一下
they'd，be so far back in the
还有
line.
5、6集
This
记录。
blockage will affect many thousands of small and large businesses waiting for goods on the backed up ships. The Ever Given was meant to unload its cargo in Rotterdam in the Netherlands and Felixstowe in the United Kingdom. From there, the cargo would be transported to dozens of discharge ports and on to destinations across mainland Europe and Scandinavia. But the ripple effects of the backlog of hundreds of ships have a truly global impact. The consequences of the blockage are felt from ports in the U.S. to the docks of Africa. 4 days after the Ever Given crashes, satellite data shows hundreds of ships backed up, some in the Gulf of Suez. and others in the Mediterranean at the north end of the canal.
Just the cluster of ships sitting there was crazy to watch. Hundreds of ships just anchored up around you. You couldn't look into view and not see a ship.
With the world watching every
新的
move, the canal
年轻
authorities
混血
are
女
under
的啊，
pressure to free the Ever Given fast. They bring in an international team of salvage experts with more equipment. Together, they devise a new strategy. Small tugs will line up to push near the stern of the Ever Given. Two larger tugs will use tow lines to pull the stern away from the west
应该
bank.
差不多了。那路上那么大机
Other
器，
large tugs will try to pull the bow
路上固
away
定
from
固
the
定一
east
个大
bank.
机器的，那就行。
But if they're not careful, there's a real risk that the ship could jerk free too quickly and smash into the other side of the canal. This operation takes advantage of an unusually high tide produced when the moon is full and at its closest to the Earth. They begin just after midnight on the 29th of March. This is when the spring tide flows south. It should help push the Ever Given stern off the bank.
Not ever given, it's ever green. Ever given.
At first, it doesn't seem like their plan is working. Everything hinges on them freeing the ship tonight. In the early hours of the morning, the stern of the ship slowly inches away from the bank. That afternoon, at the next high tide, the tugs manage to slowly pull the bow clear too. After 6 days of digging, pushing, and pulling, the ship is free at last. The crew and I were so full of joy when the ship was floated. But we did not notice all the tugs surrounding us in celebration.
Everybody just huge sigh of relief.
It almost felt like you could breathe again. Like, okay, we're going home.
In the world of salvage operations, it is a miracle for it to have succeeded in such a short time and for such a big ship. The salvage operation is a triumph of cooperation and ingenious engineering. But the crash has disrupted billions of dollars of world trade in the midst of a global pandemic, when supply lines are already stretched. Investigators urgently need to find out what went wrong. But uncovering why the Ever Given crashed won't be straightforward.
不能过
Ever
太
Given
高了。
herself was operated for Evergreen Marine, a company out of Taiwan. The owner of the vessel was in Japan. The insurer for the cargo was in the United Kingdom. The crew was Indian, the registry was Panamanian, and in investigating an accident like this, you would see nearly all those elements involved, conducting simultaneous, in some
这
cases,
装的情况下也太
investigations
多了，
along with the Egyptian Suez Canal Authority.
除非它上面的
The
轻
key
一些，
question
轻的
investigators
货
have
物
to answer
还可以，
is
装的
why
太
the ship
多了。
lost control, veering so wildly from one bank to the other. Early reports mention one thing: the weather.
It was exceptionally windy. And usually in windy situations, they evaluate the bigger ships going in and not going in.
19分，
Most ultra-large cargo ships have powerful engines and are surprisingly maneuverable, but strong winds can still pose problems. To understand the danger wind presents, it's helpful to look at other incidents where ships ran into unexpected difficulties at sea. On January 26, 2016, the Modern Express cargo ship, carrying a 3,600-ton load of heavy machinery and logs, was approaching the Bay of Biscay en route to Le Havre, France. In Finisterre, on the north coast of Spain, Coast Guard Manuel Capians Alvarez was due to start his shift.
The wind and rain were battering heavily. On the days of adverse weather conditions, you always fear that something serious could happen.
As the Modern Express crossed the Bay of Biscay, strong winds forced the ship off course. The gale caught the high side of the ship like a sail. The vessel developed a dangerous 40-degree list. At 1:16 p.m., the captain sent a distress call.
Los tripulantes solicitaron. The crew requested to abandon the ship.
Dos helicópteros.
2 rescue helicopters and a rescue plane were deployed.
The 22 crew members were clinging to the steeply sloping deck, battered by more than 16-foot-high waves. They feared the ship could capsize at any moment. The wildly pitching deck made the helicopter rescue incredibly dangerous.
Vamos a ver,会这个样子。
It took about 4 hours to haul all crew members to safety, one by one. No one knows exactly what caused the accident, but the high size of the ship and strong winds were almost certainly key factors.
But it plays with ships all the time. It doesn't matter whether you're going through the Suez Canal or you're crossing the Atlantic. It's going to play with it.
So how did the strong winds affect the Ever Given? Francesco Morelli is a marine surveyor who has conducted dozens of investigations into major shipping accidents, including in the Suez Canal. He's analyzed the data of the Ever Given crash.
The first time I heard about the Ever Given, what I read wasn't convincing. So I decided to use the same technology that we usually use to understand what happened exactly.
All big ships like the Ever Given are equipped with an automatic identification system, or AIS. This uses satellite data and the ship's radio to broadcast the vessel's precise location, heading, and speed every few seconds.
The availability of this data has made it possible to reconstruct this scenario in great detail.
Weather models of the day of the Suez incident show that a 30 to 40 knot wind blasted the Ever Given as it entered the canal.
The ship was hit by the wind on its right side. This caused the ship to be pushed towards the left bank and away from the center line of the channel.
For Francesco, even though the ship didn't hit the bank this time, it never really recovered the center line. But he's convinced that wind isn't the only factor that caused the crash. He discovers that the ship ahead of the Ever Given, the Costco Galaxy, which was almost exactly the same size, forged a smooth passage through the waterway despite having to battle the same windy conditions. Why did one ship sail through the canal safely and the other crash? Francesco overlays the tracking data of the Ever Given and the Costco Galaxy. The resulting image lays bare the different paths of the two ships. As they entered the canal, the wind pushed both ships towards the left bank. The Ever Given veered particularly close. Both ships then slowly increased their speed as they approached the bend. This would have made them more maneuverable. The more water that rushes past the ship's rudder, the faster it turns. But halfway through the bend, the Galaxy slowed back down, while the Ever Given sped up.
La differenza fondamentale
The difference between the two is that they went through the curve of the canal at different speeds.
è la velocità.
The Costco Galaxy kept a moderate and constant speed.
Moderata e costante. La
The Ever Given increased its speed up to nearly 14 knots.
In strong winds, big ships are often easier to control the faster they go. But within the confines of the canal, high speeds can cause problems.
Quando la nave come l'Ever Given si trova
When a ship like the Ever Given nears the side of the canal, hydrodynamic effects suck the ship towards the nearest bank.
verso la sponda che si trova vicina. Questo
This is called bank effect. And the bigger the speed, the bigger the bank effect.
As the Ever Given moved through the canal, its vast bulk displaced hundreds of thousands of tons of water. This rushed past the hull and formed a bow wave at the front. Francesco believes that as the ship got close to the bank, the bow wave formed a cushion and pushed the bow away. But further back, as the gap between ship and bank narrowed, the water flowed faster. When a fluid speeds up, pressure in the fluid drops, which in this case created suction that pulled the stern towards the bank. Just a small increase in speed leads to a big increase in this so-called bank effect. Francesco's analysis suggests that the Ever Given's high speed caused it to lurch from experiencing bank effect on one side of the canal to bank effect on the other, and eventually to crash.
il comportamento della nave è assimilabile.
The behavior of the ship is similar to a ball bouncing back and forth from one bank to the other.
La velocità della nave aumenta sempre
The speed of the ship increases,
più. Questo modo
and the bank effect becomes stronger.
sempre più marcata.
This is what causes the ship to crash.
In quella posizione.
So why did the Ever Given speed up? Faced with high winds, could the captain have simply made the wrong call, gone too fast, and lost control of his vessel? How do crucial decisions like this get made on the bridge of a ship? Clues lie in another tragic maritime disaster. On September 30th, 2015, the cargo ship El Faro, carrying 391 containers, over 100 cars, and 33 crew members, was sailing 80 miles from Florida en route to Puerto Rico.
The ship was on a regular route between Jacksonville, Florida, and San Juan, Puerto Rico, and it made that trip back and forth week after week after week.
Rod Sullivan is a maritime expert and was the lawyer who represented one of the families of the crew on board.
In Jacksonville, when they left, and as they went down the east coast of the United States, the weather was beautiful. There was a light hurricane, Joaquin, Force 1 or Force 2, out somewhere in the Caribbean. But at the very time they left, they had no idea that they were going to be sailing directly into it.
Hurricane Joaquin strengthened, turning into a Category 4 storm with 135-mile-per-hour winds and mountainous seas.
The winds are getting stronger, the waves are getting stronger, and the ship is becoming less and less controllable.
The captain of El Faro, Michael Davidson, could have changed course and taken a longer route that avoided the worst of the weather. But in the face of the gathering storm, the El Faro did the unthinkable. It sailed straight into the heart of the hurricane.
You're looking at 120 mile per hour winds.
没有实况录像。
Are extreme winds. And you're also looking at high seas. which are going to batter the ship on one side or the other, is going to make it very difficult to control the ship.
At 7:12 a.m., the captain sent an emergency message. Then, silence.
They sent out fixed-wing aircraft looking for the location of the sinking. They sent out vessels and helicopters to attempt to see if there were any people, any survivors, and no survivors were found.
An extensive search of the seabed uncovered the wreckage of the ship. And crucially, its voyage data recording, the equivalent of a plane's black box. It held records of the ship's exact location and audio recordings of all conversations on the bridge in the hours leading up to the disaster.
The elements of this ship are really heartbreaking because all the crew members have gotten off the railing and are trying to get off the ship, but there are two people left in the wheelhouse. There's Captain Davidson and there's one seaman. And as the ship moves farther and farther to one side, the seaman doesn't have the strength to get to the high side of the ship. To Captain Davidson's credit, he stayed there to the very last minute to try to save the life of this one seaman.
The audio recordings revealed their final words.
I don't have a ladder up here. I can't extend it down to you. I don't have a rope to pull you up. You are going to have to pull yourself up to this side of the ship in order to get out of here. The seaman is saying, Captain, I can't, don't leave me. And Captain Davidson is saying, I'm not going to leave. And he doesn't.
The sinking of the El Faro claimed all 33 sailors' lives.
Every family of a seaman knows that they're involved in a dangerous occupation. Nobody expects that they're going to go out to sea and not come back.
So why did Captain Davidson sail the El Faro straight into Hurricane Joaquin? Audio recordings reveal confusion about the hurricane's severity and location. Only minor course adjustments were made. According to the NTSB report, the captain knew he was sailing into a severe storm, and his crew was uncomfortable with his decision.
The captain and the chief mate had a discussion about the alternate routes very early in the voyage, and the captain considered that and rejected the alternative routes. Later, at 2 o'clock in the morning, the second mate, Danielle, actually rang up the captain, who was in his cabin asleep, and suggested to him that they needed to do something, and the captain said it didn't feel like it was that bad, and he went back to sleep. The captain's attitude was one of bravado. He said, look, I travel in the Gulf of Alaska. I see weather and waves like this all the time, and therefore I'm not going to be concerned, and you shouldn't be either.
The crew may choose to raise concerns, but the captain's decision is always final. Could this be what happened on the Ever Given? Did the captain simply make a bad decision that led to the accident? After freeing the Ever Given, the Canal Authority chose the ship to the appropriately named Great Bitter Lake. Here, in a further twist, the Egyptian authorities placed the ship under arrest. It can go no further until the Canal Authority and the ship owners conclude negotiations to determine who will pay for the salvage operation.
The Egyptians leveled an initial claim against Ever Given of $916 million.
We were negotiating with the owners to get back the losses we incurred, at least.
It is terrible news for those with cargo on board. The case ends up in the Egyptian courts. Here, the ship owners produce transcripts of the audio recordings from the ship's bridge. as well as a detailed timeline and accident report drawn up by a respected maritime expert. They say that in the moments leading up to the crash, the maritime pilots who were on board to guide the Ever Given through the canal were navigating the vessel. To understand events on the Ever Given's bridge, first we need to understand what happens when a maritime pilot boards a ship. Greg Tylowski was a San Francisco bar pilot for 10 years and regularly piloted ships the size of the Ever Given.
In a normal situation, I board the ship, I have an exchange with the master on what the plan for my routing will be. Once he's comfortable with the plan or she's comfortable with the plan and I'm comfortable with the situation on board the vessel, the pilot assumes navigational control of the vessel. They're going to control the heading, the speed, the direction, and the communication protocols.
Pilots don't steer the ship themselves. They issue commands to the other officers on the bridge. To the helmsman, who controls the direction of the ship with the rudder. And the bridge watch officer, who controls the speed of the ship with the throttle.
The standard for pilots really around the world is that the commands from pilots are direct to the person who has their hands on the steering wheel, and they're direct to the person that's standing next to the throttle for the main engine.
Pilots have performed this task for hundreds of years, as they have detailed local knowledge of ports and narrow crossings that the captain, the master of the ship, does not. But even though the pilot takes charge of navigating the ship, the captain is still responsible for the ship's safety.
It's the master's duty to intervene at a point where it is obvious that the pilot is in some way incapacitated or is in some way dangerous to himself or to the vessel.
The relationship between a pilot and the captain and his team on a ship can be very tricky. The bridge team will not necessarily have ever met this person before, yet they have to give control of their vessel to him.
In this scenario, miscommunication.
Don't call me. And she said, 1-800-684-9829.
Heck, our mouth shut. Move on to his next special book.
Oh, 好难看呐 I'm not interested at all. Interested at all. 大蛇影是什么
Doctor, about it.
Ever gonna be really fast. Yeah, why you saw me?
Take your pick. And head for the mountains up.
Oh, baby, buckle, baby. Yeah. You want some of that?
骂怪话，利用演戏的机会骂怪话。好烫啊！真的很烫。这个烫的变形了，这叉子烫的变形了，看 变成这个样子，叉子烫的变形，这个样子。Oh, take a look inside. 哦，把手也弄了。41分48秒。
hardest decision I had to make in 18 years. Was it discourse amendment case? Was it that death penalty case? Was it some major separation of powers case? None of those. The hardest decision I had to make was whether to erect fences and barricades around the Supreme Court. So that was a hard decision. But any decision you made in any death penalty case, he almost always decides that
没有死刑了，没有死刑了。
should be executed. But that's never as hard as his decision to order a temporary fence around the Supreme Court. And he ordered that fence because he knew the Supreme Court was about to revoke a constitutional right to bodily autonomy for women. Now, the abortion law is up to the states, thanks to Chief Justice John Roberts in the
government what the members of the Supreme Court. Your rights depend on where you live. And the New York Times will have an essay titled "The Real Threat to Freedom is Coming from the States." No Louis writes,
有人让电子跟中文行。
have stripped tens of millions of American women of their right to bodily autonomy. And it is states that have begun to renege on honest, free, and fair elections. Joining us now is Jamal Louis. He's a columnist for the New York Times and co-host of the podcast Unclear and Present Danger. Thank you very much for joining us again tonight. It's such a brilliant and beautifully written column
The Supreme cases.
of the Supreme Court as having taken these rights away. That's where we first felt that sensation. But it really simply handed that power to the states in repeated decisions, and the states are not using it.
That's right. The legal rights is granted as being part of the Constitution, part of the Bill of Rights, are rights that were always something that the national government protected. They were always something that the Supreme Court recognized, extended through the states to us as individuals. The process of that happening took a very long time. It sort of got going with the 14th Amendment that really became quite salient for us in the 20th century. And one way you can understand the court's current jurisprudence is rolling the clock back somewhat on national protection of individual rights, on the Constitution saying you have a right to bodily autonomy wherever you live in the world, wherever you live in the United States, and instead saying, well, if you live in Virginia, maybe you have one, but if you live in North Carolina, maybe you don't. If you live in South Carolina, maybe you don't. The defenders of the court, and I'm saying that of course doing the doubt, is like, well, this is just returning the question back to democratic authorities. But the thing is that we know is that states aren't necessarily bastions of democracy. In states, in part thanks to the court, have wide leeway to shape and structure their electoral systems to entrench minorities in power. So really in practice, what we're looking at are rights being devolved down to the states, and then those states not necessarily really representing the people who live in them.
You make the point in the piece that the Bill of Rights, that those first 10 amendments to the Constitution, which we think of as our personal rights, have not always been thought of that way by the Supreme Court.
That's right. The Bill of Rights was envisioned as a grant of protection against the federal government. But the federal government, these are things the federal government cannot violate. And the states, by contrast, have much more leeway. The Supreme Court established that essentially as a precedent in the 1830s. Because I guess earlier, with the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which does, which essentially extends the Bill of Rights to the states and say that the states cannot violate these as well, or at least many of the amendments in the Bill of Rights. That begins to change. As I noted in the piece, this process takes a long time, in part because there's a massive retrenchment against the Reconstruction Amendments of the 1870s. But many of the landmark rulings that took place in the Supreme Court are based on this idea that, in fact, the Bill of Rights is incorporated in the states, and that our rights have to be protected by states as well as by the federal government.
And we have justices like Clarence Thomas now trying to reach back 100 years, over 100 years, and to say things like the federal government has no right to try to outlaw child labor, for example.
Right, so the bleeding edge of this kind of jurisprudence is essentially like a sort of rolling back all of this. And essentially it's saying that the states have extremely wide authority to do whatever they want when it comes to the rights of individuals, to the rights of groups. I believe Justice Thomas doesn't actually think that there's any constitutional prohibition against states establishing a religion, for example. And that's kind of the vision there, that states become kind of the locus for the state kind of exerting power on individuals. And a lot of you quoted at the top of the segment, referring to local bullies and local tyrants and such. And this gets to what's the problem with all of this, that it's a jurisprudence that empowers essentially the people who conceive authority at the local level, at the state level, and then wield it. And really, that's always going to be a democratically constituted majority. In many states, it clearly isn't.
Jamel Bowie, thank you very much for joining us once again tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
I want my daughter Riley to know about her ancestors and how important it is to know who you are, to know where you came from.
It's like opening up a whole nother world that we did not know existed.
You finally have a face to a name. We're discovering together. Exactly.
前几天在 Pedro 买的那种东西，里面是牛肉，外面是那种玉米面皮。我是在我所有权的那个地方，公寓楼。收费收的太贵了。你公寓楼有的公寓楼所有权落实让我去住，只交水电费。$100张还不错。 东西是。润条呢？煮面条或者米饭和米饭煮一煮，再煮一煮。水啊，这里面，这好多水，这好多水。有这个办法。是。这好臭，闻起来。盖子，外面有人烤的。 哦，哦，外面差不多72度、73度左右，我里面还外面大概71度、70度、71度、69度，还有微风吹，感觉还要凉一些，这样凉爽不热，不冷。那是哇，好了好了好了。 天，发热。哦，这个牙线是哪个了？ 那里面有什么东西？有人进来过。Australian judge dismissed case and won it.
Well, Paula, this is a major victory for these three newspapers, a major victory for the three journalists who delivered these highly researched stories back in 2018, which alleged that Ben Roberts-Smith, Australia's most decorated war soldier, the winner of the Victoria Cross, had committed war crimes in Afghanistan. He had been a part of the unlawful killing of 6 Afghan non-combatants between 2009 and 2012. Now, Ben Roberts-Smith has always denied those charges, and he brought this defamation case against the newspapers and the journalists who wrote the stories. And the big news today, the newspapers won. Now, the newspapers played a truth defense.
这怎么盖子又放这里了又？
Before the court in their
我们扔掉了吗？
the veracity of their journalism. The judge decided that the most egregious elements of their reporting were true. Some of the allegations that the newspapers had brought forward in their reporting could not be proved by this truth defense, but the judge ruled that the context around those allegations was enough to ensure that Ben Roberts-Smith had not been defamed by that reporting. Now, this is not a criminal case. This was a defamation case, but what it did was it served as a proxy for a war crimes hearing. This was the first time that war crimes allegations have been tested in Australian court, and as I said, the most egregious of those have been proven to have been most likely true. Those include the shooting of an unarmed non-combatant with a prosthetic leg. Those included the allegation that Ben Roberts-Smith had kicked an elderly Afghan man off a cliff and then ordered other Australian soldiers to shoot him. Some of the people who served with Ben Roberts-Smith in Afghanistan testified against him in this blockbuster trial, which has been called by some here as Australia's trial of the century. Afghans from their villages beamed into Australia's federal court by video link to describe what Australian soldiers had done in their villages over 10 years ago. So this has gained huge traction here in Australia. It will have huge impact on Australia's military legacy in Afghanistan. As we know, a separate Australian military war crimes investigation has shown that 39 Afghan civilians and non-combatants were killed by Australian soldiers throughout Australia's longest war. Ben Roberts-Smith faces the possibility that he might face other charges, criminal ones potentially, in the future, Paula.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part of this case. It's not over. And as you point out, one of the most decorated soldiers Australia has ever seen. We saw him there meeting Queen in 2021. Angus Watson for us. Thanks for the update. Appreciate it. So, for us, the U.S. is another step closer to averting a disastrous default on tens of trillions of dollars in debt. The results of the House vote and what happens next.
I find it funny when people think they know me, because I'm more than just one me. And so are you. Where's the one that...
Tree. Except it took longer for most land because you had to have a long show for a dash.
At least look at you.
Or the pitiful Fredo figure.
The states can regulate guns.
Other common prey have to stay on high alert for wolves. And caribou and muskox are hunted by wolves in the high Arctic. Bears are predators themselves, but a mother bear will be on the lookout for wolves. She has the power to protect her cubs. All big predators start out small, like these orphan black bear cubs we're hanging out with now. These black bear cubs are going to turn into great predators. Now, black bears probably aren't the top predator, well, especially they're not when there are brown bears around. But black bears are tough, they're strong, they've got a lot of creature powers, they could probably hold their own. A big male black bear
It could hold his own against a mountain lion.
Yeah, a full-grown black bear can even flip over this huge rock.
You think you can flip it over?
Well, I think you could when you're full-grown.
Bears are strong. It's one of their top creature powers. And the reason a bear would flip over a rock like this is to get to the grubs, insects, ant larvae, whatever it could find underneath.
Well, pretty cool you're exploring, huh?
This too. I could watch these guys all day.
So wherever you explore in the creature world, you're gonna find a top predator.
And they always have some special creature power that put them on top.
Keep on creature adventuring. We'll see you on the creature trail.
Kevin,
That's in the vicinity of the victim's home with.
There's someone in there. Get on your head. Careful. All right, when I get to the door, we'll bring back that way.
Good performance, good performance.
I think I missed something. Would you say that again? I said you were supposed to burn it, not smoke it to death. Now the CHP wants to talk to me.
Congratulations, Mr. Wizard. You're from Menlo.
I am sorry about this, Mr. Evans. We'll stay in touch, and when things calm down, try again. And don't worry, please. I guarantee you will have no. Forget it. The deal's off. I mean it. I don't work that way, Mr. Evans. Well, maybe you don't. I do. I'm sure you guys understand me. Don't call there again.
what's wrong, man?
Oh, that was Paul from the RV storage line. There's been some vandalism, and he wants me to go down.
Vandalism or what? I'm going to go home.
Jason?
I'm going with you.
Why? I'm pushing.
Take your way. I'll put them away later. Come on. Let's go.
Nice suit, so. 哎，现在洗衣机在哪里啊？床倒是容易做。 洗衣机在哪里？
2 reviews in 2 days. Seems like half the people in town are playing with matches.
We can find a way to make a profit out of ours. And church skeptics are making millionaires overnight.
Have they done to it? Oh, why? I don't understand.
Look, honey, I need to talk to Vicky about me, please.
Why do you say that to me? But I haven't seen it yet.
If you want, please. Just do what I ask. Hi. I'm Ray Evans. What's happening? Dispatcher Katie? All she said was somebody tried to burn his house.
Dispatcher. I thought you talked to that over there. Who called you?
Let me handle this, please.
What's wrong with you, Ray? My name's on that pig slip, too. We were paying the man extra to keep an eye on that thing.
Where is he, by the way? I'd like to have a word with him. Wait, did the watchman call your home?
Right, about 10 minutes ago.
Did you talk to him?
No, but my husband did. Isn't he right?
I'm a little curious. Do you mind if we go around inside?
Good looking. See,
Before you do that, would you mind telling us once again, when did you talk to the watchman?
Oh, about 10, 15 minutes ago. Why? What difference does it make? What's the big deal? Watchman was overcome by smoking. 15 minutes ago, he was unconscious. There's no way he could have spoken to you on the telephone.
Oh, no, that couldn't be. There must be some...
Please. The dispatcher didn't say a word about the watchman. That's right. We didn't tell her.
Well, somebody, please tell me what's going on here.
Is he okay? In addition to suffering from smoke inhalation, he had an apparent coronary. When he left here, he was in pretty bad shape. I guess I got some explaining to do.
Ready? Hey, what is it? What's happened? What have you done?
Something stupid, I'm afraid.
The burners are Tom Dempsey and Andy Whitman, male Cox, early 30s. Well, according to Mr. Evans, they're fairly new in town, so I doubt whether you have anything on them. That's right. Mr. Evans has agreed to cooperate. Now, sir, I think I made that rather plain. All right. Thank you very much.
like his shirt,
The DA thinks he may go on with this.
big,
What happens now?
large collar.
After you booked him, take him over to the DA's office. Right. Over there, you're going to fill out a sworn statement. If the DA goes along with our proposal, you'll be released on your own recognizance. After that, you go home and wait.
If the watchman dies, what will my husband be charged with?
Murder.
The death of a person as a result of arson or attempted arson is murder in the first degree.
Murder.
I believe there's a sting operative in this very room.
He tried to kill you. Why? Somebody wanted you dead. All they'd have to do is
Yeah,
wait
they're
till you were
looking kind of late also. The other one looks well also.
You know,
Car.
What do we say?
You see a picture of the.
It's.
Okay.
We're shooting clear.
Oh. So no.
Two to putting them the length of the runway. They don't hear the plane coming for them. Without engines, it's silent. And one thing the 767 doesn't have is a horn.
Brace! Brace for landing!
有声音了。
The nose hit with quite a bang on the runway.
一旦
Sounded like a shotgun going off at our feet.
The front landing gear gives out immediately. Pearson brakes hard, 2 tires blow out. The bottom of the right engine scrapes the runway.
That was a robot. It just no one pushed the dog.
Finally, Pearson sees what's in their path.
And I looked up and I could see two boys on bicycles. They must have been probably about 1,000 feet down the runway from our position when I saw them.
And then at one point, I could see he raise his head, and he's surprised. Here's this big aircraft.
I can still remember the look of terror on their faces. So they were close enough.
With no nose gear to steer with, Pearson's only hope of driving the plane left or right is by varying the brake pressure on the two main landing gear.
That's when my heart started to pitter-patter a little bit.
The kids panic and try to outrun a plane that's traveling about 200 miles an hour.
I knew I couldn't take the airplane into those boys, and I was going to take it off into the grass on the right side. There were campers along the west side of the runway that I didn't notice until after we touched down. And when the nose was on the ground, and I could still remember the left side, people standing by their barbecue.
Dino Calvert is at the track with his friends for a weekend of racing.
One of the gentlemen in the pits suddenly jumped in his car and he took off. And I thought, well, you don't drive like that in the pits usually. And I looked up and all I could see was smoke rising.
Pearson does all he can to stop the plane in time.
Holy crap!
The plane plows into a guardrail installed down the middle of the runway.
The Sonic Scrubber by Blacklist 6000 are 15% credit and what cleaning power when you
Looks powerful?
Yeah, want that oil hot.
All right, now, where's credibility issue?
Today we're not.
Subplot.
Logan, a client of you.
They're my favorites, okay?
Have them now before they're gone forever. They're not going to be remade again. Abalone only. The other two have completely sold out. Well done. You're going to wear those always.
固定的
We'll have those
很硬的
time and time again. Now, oh, look at this. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so glad you love this ring. It's almost gone. I 22 now remain.
固定的很硬的东西，
18 karat gold.
如何顺手啊？
18 karat gold. He is all hand-hammered cushion ring. He gave us a little secret. He told us that his beautiful wife, Netta Benham, is behind the design on that one. And I think that's beautiful. She's another award-winning designer herself. Ooh, what a combo. That price goes away in 1 hour and 20 minutes. Now, another beautiful piece for you. Of course, the star of the day today, and a grinding markdown. The lowest price it's ever been. It's at today's top value. All handcrafted in Bali and inspired by the offering basket that the Balinese artisans pray over when a piece of jewelry is made and before it's sent to your home. That's the installation. The details intricate. There's so much gold. You choose either the 7.5 millimeter, the smaller one, or that big 11 millimeter wide. Just say big or little. It's 204-146, and most of you are going for that big today. Now, here are the matching earrings, but they're almost all gone. I have about 3,000 of the earrings left. 204-147. Here's what it is, guys. So as the earrings are for today's top value, we'll take a big red Sharpie and mark that price down 50% on the earrings when you do. 204-147. Now, here's a flash deal on a one location gemstone that's now being retired.
是不是没有？
Want to clarify, the gemstone is not being retired. That's up to Mother Nature. But this ring is being retired now today for this show in Stanley Bennett's newest Amalite suite. It's beautiful. I'm going to have a ring, one location gemstone, that I want you to pair up with the earrings on this one location gemstone. The gemstone is called Amalite, and I'm going to make you a promise. Samuel Benham's Amalite is the best your money can buy, and I'm going to tell you why. This next shot that you're going to see, now no two stones are going to be alike, but the finest Amalite in the world shows the blues, shows the greens, and it shows the reds. Sam's collection is absolutely the best in the marketplace. It just is.
Oh.
The stone comes from Canada. So Samuel Bennett, tell us about Amalite. I know you've always loved it because it's just massive displays of color. Tell me more.
Again, this is an incredible gemstone. Basically, that connects you to the past. These gemstones, some of them are up to 70 million years old. I don't know how many zeros is there, but millions of years behind.
and it was discovered in 1967, and then shortly afterwards in
我自己都知道的
in
骗人。
Alberta, Canada. And what they do, what the gemstone cutters do, they cut it in tiny slabs and slices to so
差点出来了。
goes to waste. There's no more. You first of all, you still have those amazing flashes and of blue and green and rolling flashes of it. It's not only flash, and then it's gemstones. It's one of the rarest gemstones in the world, and again, many of these gemstones I acquired them long time ago. To bring them at these incredible prices, that's the only way to do it. You know, right now I'm in Tucson, and I'm buying gemstones for decades to come. This is what the only way you have to be proactive. But with this one, conversation starter. It's a beautiful work of art. It's a halo of 18 karat gold around the gemstone. The details are insane, as we mentioned it again. And you're not settling for ordinary. You automatically becoming gemstone.
哪个外国人他们请了一个？
Sammy brought the suite. We have a ring with a matching pendant, and we're going to get the matching earrings. It all look at the quality, all the beautiful colors. Where sometimes I presented Amalite out there, where sometimes
对，手机部该说的词。那这个电视没标准了，电视广播没标准了。以前的标准来立法好了。
When you order the ring first, we'll take 50% off that matching pendant as well. The quality is second to none.
没办
You know
法，
how why I use it for sure.
适当，适当不好啊。
Remember, this is the new
以前电视上不可以说的，是大家知道不能说就不说。现在没有立法就不行了。
so long to name Ammonite. You know, you hear Ammonite, which is Ammonite pasta, but this Ammonite is incredible.
You're right, Sam. It is so incredible. You see all the different colors, Sam. You see that blue. That's what comes the color to see with the blues, the greens, the reds. I hear these 20 threaded earrings. And also look at all of that 18 karat gold from Sam too. That's all done by hand, all made by hand in Bali. Now the earring is going to have a nice elongated French hook in the back. So no butterfly quilts to worry about. You're going to love how comfortable these are going to be in your ear when you wear them. At $249.95, the flash price expires in 1 hour and 15 minutes. And the price is going to go away. And the earrings are almost sold out. Look at earrings, I have about a dozen left. Match them on that ring. The ring I have like 5 left. So here's the matching pendant. 2 dozen pendants.
好了，权威上来。
You want to make it part of that sweet gold ring first. We'll take 50% off the pendant. But Sam, this is a 60 by 12 in the pendant. That's a really big stone. Is that hard to get in Amalite?
It is hard. I just
谁呀？
more of those gemstones.
印度人，印度
I
人。
could have other shapes, but not that particular gold that of that caliber and quality and the size. But what you get, these are one of a kind each one. Once you get, your matrix of the color of blue and green and other shades of amazing rolling flashes are going to be a little different. That's what makes them even more special.
And then talk about what you've done too, because you give it this beautiful, it's flat on the back, so it lies in the neckline so beautifully. But then Sam, all of that solid 18 karat gold around that hair.
Again, the 18 karat gold is finished off after that market off. So that hammer, the tiniest little hammer, the tools they use are handed down to them from generation to generation. And as I mentioned, the more they hammer it, more that gets that one pure 18 karat gold out.
这种灰很多的。
That's what you have here. You hold it to the magic, it transports you back millions of years, the gemstone, and then this is the type of silver name that I call it end of an era. You know, I've been traveling Orient for 4+ decades, and 30-some years ago I discovered Valley, and it was a game changer. I made it my mission to make sure they, at least my artisans that I work with, continue their way of creating and crafting is irreplaceable work of art. And
So this is the last chance to get the suite because they're selling out. It's the last chance forever. These are not coming back again. It's the last chance to get the earring or order the ring first. We'll take 50% off of that pendant. Order the ring first. We'll take 50% off of that beautiful necklace. They're all on reserve. Good luck. I hope you can get it today. Now speaking of amulette, I have some really cool fashion-forward amulette pieces that I think are going to blow your mind. But our gorgeous peacock is entirely on reserve. Thank you so much. And if you like critters, now it's go online because we're not going to share them with you. But this is what it sounds, I'm going to say it, most delightful, most unexpected, most whimsical piece that he has ever created for you here at Shop HQ. You're going to have your choice of a cat, of a fish, of a turtle, of a frog. They're all genuine gemstones, that huge, beautiful girl pearls. They're gorgeous. They're the real thing, my friends, at $49.80. Now, there's more big things going up online. So, you know, here's what happens. You know, we want to get you to $99. That way we can ship it to you for free. When you get to $99 or more, great savings on that Shop HQ credit card. You know, a lot of companies do their big clearances in June and July. We're doing ours right now. To make room for all those 10 beautiful pieces that should be created. That's for the Vegas event and beyond. Okay, now you guys, this is Amalite in the coolest presentation I think the world has ever seen of this gemstone. I'm going to have a ring, and then I'm going to have a gorgeous neck piece. The neck piece is 202481. Choose either the dragon on the top right or the leopard on that bottom left. And then I'm going to have a ring to match. Oh, goodness gracious, this is amazing. So here's the ring. Let me show you. So a big, huge piece of amylite, just like we're talking about, that one location gemstone. Either the panther or the dragon. Oh! Look at the detail. Look at the claws, the feet, the fingers. I don't know what those are. They're beautiful. So this is the dragon, or you're going to choose the panther. Sammy B, I'm so proud of you because your critter pieces, your animal pieces are always number one. I have never, in all the time that I've been doing shows with you, ever seen anything like this before. These animals, like hugging this gemstone. Wow, I love it.
You know, animal inspired jewelry, and I consider it has a special standard, but you can put it on a sticker chain and make it a unisex creation. But it happens to be this the largest amount that I ever brought to this net. It's, you know, I wish they had more of these gemstones. What they sell out, I don't know. What you really involve the amulite, what else to bring you. But you see that the dragon, there's so much myth, legends and folklore about the dragon and what it stands for. It's for validation. It happens to be their guardian angel. You see that intense focus done in 18 karat gold. And then the panther,
That's 1-800-755-6056 or order online at taclightmax.com.
Look, Father.
$, and choose repayment terms that
We ain't gonna never get this together.
work on the bags that works on it.
Can't get moisture in it.
And Gretchen comes in, Gretchen says, I'm not a songwriter. I said, don't you have something you want to say? She goes, I got plenty to say, I'm just not a songwriter. I said, what do you want to talk about? She's looking at my TV, CMT is on, and Shania Twain's on.
Does this crap thing always work? In a few rare cases,
Hell, I'll never be able to do that. Spits in the cup, and I go, never.
人看我看水这样，在另外一种帽子。
No. Including blurred vision, joint aches, and
With the animal inspired design, to get a little.
Oh, sure. I was at
Word for another.
shower door.
But it is 3 days.
was apparently
Is sale. The 50-50-50 sale. 50% off carpet and flooring. 50% off padding and materials. And
Oh! Let's see. Just needs a charge. It's free.
For 50359.
the rep doesn't call them.
Every
Putting our box a month club. He's
And dries up.
because
Reduce depression. You can sleep deeper.
by him, and hopefully he can, move forward with it.
You have to.
Bring Morty's mind flowers.
That feels better. Down with cheesesteak. Just 6.
free. Flaming hot.
You see?
Pay for what you need. With the money you save, we tried electric unicycles.
I think I got it.
Okay. Doggy paddle, only pay. But just next to that.
We will make it back in.
Two. Dr. Savant.
And fresh protection. It absorbs 20 unfunctions.
But Joan.
For the chance, guys.
This repair. Our breakthrough Everpure bonding.
And I said mother too.
Bonds and strengthens hair.
Oh, what? Your mother.
Yep. Actually, no symptoms. Or if you had a better.
Oh, man.
找黑人去做你丈夫。
Get immersed.
Times greater risk of stroke, heart attack, or death.
That's
Even
another
if the
say so.
A1C goes which if ignored could bring you here. May put you in one of those.
Unrelated, won't be related.
Too much. That's the point. Get real about your risks and do something about it. Talk to your healthcare provider about ways to lower your risk of stroke, heart attack, or death. Learn more at getrealaboutdiabetes.com.
From prom dresses to workouts and new adventures. You hope the more you give, the less they'll miss. But even if your team was
监督一下，监督一下。
meningitis in the past,
我这盖上。
missing vaccination for meningitis B. Although uncommon, up to 1 in 5 survivors of meningitis will have long-term consequences. Now, as you're thinking about all the vaccines your team might need, make sure you ask your doctor if your team is missing meningitis vaccination. Hey, it's your dry skin. Every day we use ceramides I need to seal in moisture. CeraVe delivers 3 essential ceramides to help restore my barrier so I can lock in moisture, feel hydrated, and look healthy. CeraVe facial moisturizing lotions.
Back then, my mom knew that good nutrition would help me grow up healthy and happy. I'm a mom now, and my son is a burger baby too.
At Cox Mobile, we know other mobile companies like you to stay put with one type of plan. But we know life can take you anywhere, which is why you get the freedom to choose a data plan that actually fits you. And the ease of changing it up anytime. Choose between pay-as-you-gig or gig unlimited, all while running on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability. Flexibility feels good. Cox Mobile, we're different because you're different.
Your hair is damaged. You need the deepest repair. Our breakthrough Ever Pure Bond Repair from L'Oreal repairs weak-hitter hair bonds and strengthens hair in just 1.
怎么样放个男生？没对没对呀、
Come on, hold it right there.
We get her done, she's got her done, and now we're back to work.
哦，看了，这大轮子小轮子是怎么回事？哪些轮子大的，哪些轮子小的？哦，前面轮子小。
60, 12, 80, 81. Okay. One of the ratio.
这第二次是按轰炸机用的，哇，轮子还可以收进去。
Oh, feels good. As it should.
对，演完了。
This week, the entire hangar is feeling the first blast of the long, cold winter ahead.
哦，特别响。
Getting Chris's cargo airborne this morning depends on how fast Tyler can clear this plane of ice.
You know, they just need to fix it. You know, every year, looking back, there's always one day where it's completely.
And it's only becoming more clear. Today is that day.
On the wing, you get cold air and carburetor, it goes on ice.
And there are much bigger problems ahead for this plane.
What's going on there? We need to return for landing.
And all of Buffalo.
Something in my head is telling me there was something wrong.
We got 46 on one gear on the runway.
Oh, you're kidding.
All of a sudden, it just started to rear the right.
It was a pile of air. How did that even happen?
I'm not really sure how it could get any worse. What as worse as we needed to get.
Don't you want this job?
Hang on to your hat, boy.
Thursday morning in Yellowknife, Buffalo is stuck firmly down on the ground. The entire hangar is feeling the first blast of the long, cold winter ahead.
Something so simple as no hard right now. Bridge comes to bite. Damn near impossible.
This morning, DC-4 co-pilot Tyler Seapos is clearing ice off a plane after 2 weeks of freezing rain.
Getting off 3 inches of snow. And I had to do the coldest day this year, too. Oh, yeah.
And unlike the big airlines Tyler hopes to fly for, Buffalo has no de-icing truck. So, after 2 years working his way up, the co-pilot still has to clean the wings the hard way.
不行，他们得拿那个车喷水热水的车。
And the morning is slipping away.
It's really awkward. Right now it's around 11 o'clock. Everybody's about 2 hours late. Yeah, big situation, but there's always one a year. Every year, looking back, there's always one day where it's completely big enough.
And it's only becoming more clear. Today is that day. Tyler's holdup is causing big problems for Chris Staples, Buffalo's new cargo manager.
I think right now it's about minus 24. And we're off the dresser in the warehouse right now. Now the ready at 7 o'clock. It takes 3 to 4 hours to get the plane ready, and then you also way it goes, right? Want that set for a few?
23-year-old pilot Chris has wanted to fly since he was a little kid. Last year, Chris carted his girlfriend and baby daughter all the way from Victoria, BC on a whim.
I was hoping that if I came up here, like I did, that they'd see that this person really wants a job, he's obviously really committed, and he's worked this hard, he's come this far, give him a shot. And no matter what you do, goes wrong, that's beyond your control,
Chris would for food management by himself.
I think it really shows, my dedication to Buffalo, and it'd be a good opportunity to hopefully get a fast stepping stone in C-46. So I figure if I can do this job long enough, we'll give you that opportunity.
Getting Chris's cargo airborne this morning depends on how fast Tyler can clear this plane of ice. Holy!
What happened?
Stupid.
我应该能拿那个热水枪车，跟热水那种车来，一大箱，一大 container 的水，热水。
Buffalo Joe's been flying the north for 50 years. He holds his crew responsible.
Nobody gets to hurt to get going. It's only 11 o'clock.
在演戏。
You're going to put 45 gallons of alcohol in this every
day.
And there are much bigger problems ahead.
热水车肯定可以开过来。
For this plane and all of Buffalo.
Look at my ratchet. What's that? An inch and an eighth, John?
I need 1 inch. With the size of your
The icy weather is creating maintenance headaches for ornery mechanic Chuck Adams.
Well, that law was up to 100 million. This thing can win 100 million. We can buy all the old airplanes and destroy them.
The arrival of winter is already straining Buffalo's vintage planes, like the C-46, known as TXW.
Well, a lot of problems right now with all the strange weather. There's always icing conditions for flying that get ice built up in the wing. You get cold air and carbon air, it's up ice. Nobody correct me on that.
The problem in the plane's other engine is so serious that the crew is replacing it.
We're at the bottom. I'll keep doing that.
I'm so sick of looking at these airplanes, it's unreal.
Outside, the crew is still loading the DC-4, but Tyler has been sidelined by a fall from the icy wing.
Big guy. The problem was straight through. But, good thing it's cold up here, so it's all mountain. I'm going to get the dogs to go park.
The day is over for Tyler, and it could be over for the DC-4 as well.
This is rough. I can't let the airplane go.
That's not real. We got on flood. Joe shutting it out. We got on flood.
Chris is keen to prove himself at Buffalo. So any setback is hard to take.
I got 20,000 pounds of food and I gotta stick back to the warehouse. I'm shipping it out. Plus 4 o'clock in the morning for what? For Joe to come and just shut her down. Frustrated citizens of the community today. They don't care. They say something great. They don't care what our problems are. They just want to eat.
The problems of Chris and the entire family are just beginning.
The majority of patients with sensitivity are severe to gas and sensitivity and normal. Healing sensitivity helps restore gum health and reviving gas and big advocate of recommending things that I know work.
We ready?
There's a
I don't have it.
Today, let's paint. What now? The America's most trusted paint brand at a new low price, starting at $28.98. Fair, only at Home Depot.
what do we always say, son? The remix will customize your partner.
I only pay for what you need.
That's my boy.
Find a fusion gummy bear. Where'd they get the fusion from?
Maybe because it's a fusion of healthy vitamins and delicious fruit flavors.
Fusion, like a Lottie door.
It's probably the most delicious thing. Vitafusion. How irresistible are cheesy crackers?
Starting at Short Max Protein with 30 grams of good protein. Those who tried it felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. And a Nourishing Moments giveaway for a chance to win $10,000.
Get Macy's lowest prices of the season tomorrow. Like up to 60% off sandals, bags, hats, and summer essentials you need now. Plus small appliances, $24.99 a month. Get it faster at curbside pickup at Macy's.
Nicholas?
Turn left is 4 miles.
¿Cuáles son tus intenciones con mi nieto?
What are your intentions with my grandson?
Life's little problems fixed on Google Pixel, the only phone engineered by Google. Get the new Google Pixel 7a for free.
a ranch night.
Hello
Would you
there.
like some lemonade? $5, please.
Had enough inflation? Undo inflation with Dish. Get the same TV bill every month for 3 years.
Here's
The 3-year TV price guarantee, only from Dish.
Whenever you're hungry, there's a deal on the Subway app. Buy one footlong, get one 50% off in the Subway app today.
Now that's a deal worth celebrating.
Man, what are you doing? Get it before it's gone on the Subway app.
Buffalo is stuck firmly down on the ground.
Big clumps of ice, damn near impossible. And it has to be the coldest day of the year, too.
The co-pilot still has to clean the wings the hard way.
Right now it's around 11 o'clock. The airplane's about 2 hours late. Yeah, the situation, but there's always one a year.
The day is over for Tyler.
Good thing it's cold up there, so it's all numb. Nobody gets to the hospital.
And it could be over for the DC-4 as well.
I can't let the airplane go.
The problems for the entire airline are just beginning.
$95. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Twisted Mind of VC Andrew. Below door. White blood cells. Unusual.
Well, to pick out a perfect piece of fish, you would always want to ask one of my employees to show you. You'd look at the gray in the eyes, you look at the gill plate, see if the gills are brown, make sure they're red, and touch the fish and see the softness and make sure it's firm. Grouper's number one. Then a lot of people like snapper, the amberjack, or the mahi. Of course, you got sushi grade tuna that a lot of people go home and roll their own sushi rolls and make poke with. My advice would be, how many people, how many adults, how many children? I start with half a pound per person. Most restaurants have got an hour and a half wait, and you can come in and get right out. I mean, you can come in and pick a piece of fish out, be out 10 minutes shrimp. We have sides. We have frozen dinners already made that you can warm up. Like if you're going on a boat, we got the wine where you can take out and go on the boat. You can do a steam order if you go on your boat. Crabs we can steam. You can take them if you're ready in 15 minutes. You can take them with you to go on your picnic, your boat. Another thing we offer on fish, if you're doing it in your condo, you have a grill. We have fish, we can do it with the skin on, so it's easier to grill. If you want to do a big bowl, we have everything for a bowl. We have the shrimp, the potatoes, corn, sausage, crabs. We have the spices to add to it. And it's, you can take it all home and have it done yourself. Again, I'm James at Destination Seafood. I hope to see you soon.
Loaded firearm and I will shoot. The past is long gone.
Hey, Nancy, it's finally up.
Finding that slowing the action 700 times reveals the truth. Fleas may be known as the greatest leapers, but plant hoppers rewrite the record books when it comes to one of the fastest takeoffs in the natural world. Having the ultimate ejector seat means they need something found nowhere else in nature. Cogs. Just before takeoff, between their legs, rows of tiny teeth intermesh, locking them together. It's quite literally a clutch in their crotch. These cogs ensure that when one leg moves, the other has to, within 30 millionths of a second, accelerating the hopper to 700 G. If you were in that rocket, you'd be pushed into your seat with a force of 56 tons. But this record-breaking leap has one major flaw. If it fires those legs on unstable ground, that much power can spin the hopper hopelessly out of control. Each launch is a leap of faith into the unknown.
Yeah.
Hoppers, kangaroos, and caracals defy gravity with an incredible launch. And they're not alone. The animal kingdom is full of fabulous leapers. But even the greatest leap inevitably ends with gravity, bringing you crashing back to Earth. A moment's lapse in concentration, and it can catch you completely off guard. You might be the world's greatest leaper, but you can't let it go to your head. If you want control in the air and to manage your fall, you need another strategy. And in the flooded forests of North Carolina, there's an animal that's got it all figured out. This is a world unchanged for thousands of years. But we're here to meet the swamp's newest arrivals, or about to be born. Their proud dad is considered by some the most attractive bird in North America, but it still took time to win his partner's affection. And this is the most important day since they paired up 6 months ago. When they decided to start a family, they had no choice but to make their nest high in the trees to protect their 12 eggs, not only from alligators, but from deadly snakes. The height that kept the eggs safe now creates huge problems. On day 1, jump day. Until now, they've kept their nest a secret. With all 12 noisy chicks hatching at once, they will soon be discovered by predators. Their mother has to get them down in minutes, but they can't fly. There's only one thing to do. Jump for it. On the day they hatch, these tiny ducklings must confront the force all flying animals must conquer. Gravity. Now the clock is ticking. Every splash could attract a predator, if the fall doesn't injure them first. You might think the water saves them, but hit that too fast, and it's like falling onto concrete. The ducklings save themselves by altering the invisible air that surrounds us all. A falling duckling encounters air resistance caused by having to push invisible air molecules aside. Even at a day old, it's using airflow in 2 important ways. First, the duckling instinctively angles its webbed feet and tiny wings to make sure it's the right way up, like a skydiver in free fall. Secondly, its fluffy body makes it hard for the air to get past. This is known as drag and slows its fall. Without this air resistance, after little more than 30 seconds, a falling duckling would break the sound barrier. By using the air around it, the duckling ensures it can control its fall, hit the water upright, and at a survivable speed. In under a minute, all 11, make that 12, ducklings are down, allowing the mother to lead them to safety before they become bite-sized snacks. These ducklings show that you can start to beat gravity by controlling your body in the air and altering the way air flows around you.
需要人工保护啊
Surviving a free fall is one thing.
Snake.
But what if you need more control to get yourself out of danger? It's winter in northern Maine. Temperatures nosedive to minus 40 degrees. Colder than the average at the North Pole. It brings big problems for the animals living here. Squirrels. In the day, there are too many predators. Night is the only time they dare to come out. But in winter, food is scarce. And deep snow makes it impossible to move on the ground. They need to find a shortcut between the trees. Their only option is to jump for it. This is a moment most squirrels would start to worry. But these ones have something special tucked up their sleeves. And those are really big sleeves. They're flying squirrels. When climbing trees, mussels retract their flying gear. But once airborne, a little wriggle reveals a simple wing. 2 layers of fur-lined skin stretch between wrists and ankles. Just imagine a normal squirrel inside a furry, elastic duvet cover. Flying squirrels have long limbs to create big wings. A flattened tail adds more surface area and steers the squirrel in the air. And each hand has a second thumb, giving the wing an upturned tip. These winglets can reduce drag by up to 20% and are now found on most planes. A few million years after they first appeared on squirrels. But how does this furry wing help the squirrel glide? The squirrel's body diverts oncoming air, forcing the air downwards.
It vapes.
Is so familiar. Reporting.
Oh.
Works.
what was truly most important.
My husband told us that's the only thing that is hers. We didn't bring any toys, no clothes.
Brought documents and backpacks, some clothes, and the violin.
Yes.
And that violin served Sophia admirably up until this spring.
Play some
Sophia did the thing that many
some
7-year-olds
sports,
tend
not a
to do.
music instrument.
Suddenly, her most prized possession was too small. But that's when Troy, whose child also attends the music school, heard their story.
I was thinking there's got to be some more that we can do to help out.
He started a GoFundMe and asked the Arvada community to step up. Did you expect it to go this well?
No, absolutely not.
This is for you. And like music often does, the new violin reminded her family that mankind still has a chance.
Just marvelous, and how people are caring and generous and human. They're like real humans. It's just marvelous.
That is so sweet, especially seeing how happy that violin makes Sophia. It really makes you wish that you stuck with whatever instrument you tried playing growing up, but then maybe eventually quit. For me, that was piano. In Denver for ABC, I'm Danny New. Andrew, Rhiannon, did you have an instrument that you took lessons for as a kid, but then you just didn't
Play
feel like
sports.
Mine was
Not a
violin.
musical instrument.
Okay, I still play 3 instruments, sorry.
Overachiever.
Just very quickly, so we have two of
Now buy me a gift.
Hurtling fast towards solid wooden objects.
Nursing homes every day. You have a limited time. You did it. Yeah, we're down to sing it.
She was casing her joint.
Good looking house.
Couple.
Awesome, awesome.
Righty. Preceding
So if you wanted to make it a little
she'll do the intro.
ask a treat.
And it's like having
Good for you.
And free shipping. Order right.
Some guy. I spent the night with him. You went with an outsider? I was upset. Paul was angry with me, and I was upset. All I wanted to do was humiliate somebody.
What was his name?
I never asked.
You're telling me you had a fight with Rogan. You left the bar right after him. You were gone all night and you have no alibi.
Telling you, if you don't leave me alone, I'll slit your guts. He knows who killed him. We all know. And the police know too. They charged him and they found his prints on that knife. Now you don't think I put them there, do you?
Did you?
You bet.
Oh!
I think it's time you were leaving, Mr. Cannon. Yeah, I think perhaps you're right. Incidentally, you have a lovely place here. The American dream.
Karen's going to have to be dealt with.
Ceremony.
Execution. Now let's turn up the lights.
Let's turn up lights. Turn up lights. Can we turn up lights so we can just
And performance. Wanna?
room. This is his altar.
They have them. For 2 easy payments of $19.99. Download our free Animal Alphabet. More. Now you can.
Don't put him on total.
Oh, absolutely free. But we're still not done. Order now and we'll ship your order free. You get it all. But supplies are limited. So hurry and put your call to order right now. To order, call 1-800-226-0584. That's 1-800-226-0584. Or go to buysitephone.com. Don't delay. Call, click, or scan today.
March the 3rd, 1974. A perfect spring-like day in Paris. It's been almost 2 years since a DC-10 came close to crashing near Windsor, Ontario. Now more than 50 of the new planes are flying around the world. One of them, Plane 29, is owned by Turkish Airlines. More
last leg of this trip to England would be very crowded. But today, the DC-10 is filling up fast. People are squeezing into seats throughout the plane. A strike at the British airline has passengers
终究时间成本、交通成本去沃尔玛买任何东西。
Wendy Williams is one of many last-minute additions to the flight. A model, she's returning home after a shoot in Spain.
We've been married for 18 months, and we were about to start a family. I believe the secret of her success in modelling was not just that she was a very attractive girl and good modelling material, but she was genuinely liked by all the photographers because she had such a pleasing, lovely, light personality.
With all the new passengers boarding, the flight is a little behind schedule. And it's not only the crew who are waiting. At the back of the plane is baggage handler Mohammed Mahmoudi. With all the new passengers, he's not sure if there are any more bags to load. Not expecting any other luggage, Mahmoudi locks the rear cargo door.
这是什么事情？
The DC-10 is set to go. Just after 12:40 in the afternoon, P8Y Flight 981 lifts off into the skies above Paris. London is less than an hour away.
Race control, this is Tango Hotel Yankee 981. We're at 6-0. Reversing clearance to flight level at 230. Night everyone, Roger.
As it flies away from the airport, the DC-10 continues to gain altitude. 2,700 meters, 3,000 meters, 3,300 meters. The huge jet shutters and banks to the left.
Horrible. Horrible.
Just 16 seconds after the start of the crisis, the crew struggles to save their crippled jet. The nose is pitching down, the plane picking up speed.
I can bring it up! She's not gonna respond!
Passengers at the back of the plane witness a horrifying scene. 2 rows of seats have simply disappeared. Through a huge hole in the floor, passengers can see the sky over France.
7,000 feet! I'm lost! Bring it outside!
The crew discovers that they have no hydraulic power with which to control the plane. Without it, they can't move their rudder or elevators. Even without its most basic controls, the plane begins to level out. But it's fallen too far. The DC-10 is traveling almost 800 kilometers an hour. The flight from Paris to London never even makes it to the English Channel. Just 9 minutes after taking off, Turkish Airways Flight 981 becomes the worst plane crash of all time. In London, the flight is listed as delayed. The news of the crash comes out slowly.
There's barely anything left here that's recognizable as being a part of an aircraft.
I looked on television and I just thought, well, I just hope she's dead. because I just saw the carnage of the forest in Solis, and it was like looking at a First World War trench movie.
Flight 981, carrying 346 passengers, virtually disintegrates on impact. There are no survivors.
It was just a scene of absolute, utter devastation. And the litter of personal possessions, electric wires, bits of metal, bits of bodies, just strewn everywhere. I mean, you couldn't walk anywhere without the danger you're going to stand on the part of a human being. I still have nightmares about this, even though it's 33 years ago.
Investigators for the French Accident Investigation Bureau are quickly on the scene.
My first job was to evaluate the scope of the
不好看的，看看别的好了。好丑。
One tournament cash on his record.
Key for this recipe. All right, into the broiler they go.
And they came off the dance floor. It was a warm night. Mr.
Ready to answer your toughest question.
RV 用的 RV， 好丑。RV， 哦，这个是叫我不要坐飞机了，说不清楚什么东西出事情，不出事情没什么，一出事情很大的。
Rarest silver eagle ever made by the United States government is 2019 S reverse proof.
Isn't that it?
Flatbed removed. When relatives of those who died in the crash arrive in France, they're directed to a small church in the town of Senlis.
One of the saddest sights I've ever seen is in this church. They laid out on tables everything they found in clothing.
Help scrape it off. And this is all going into a sauce that's going to get coarsely chopped. So don't.
America at a crossroads. I would describe my political.
Trini's dad is out hiking by the lake. Says he saw a bird.
It was all pretty battered up, so you can imagine the thoughts that went through my mind.
DC-10.
Sleep. Feel it. The sheep's difference is real. From the light to the dark. Hold back. Fall in. Exhale.
没有理你，怎么为什么理你这失望呢？加收钱不是我的系统是吧？ 我这个大的哪儿去了？几点了？我知道，2:46。2:46了。2:46了。
here.